we have a MacBook Pro. This is a 13 inches. This is one of the old designs. This is an A1502. Yeah, it's A1502. So the form factor of the A1502s, they are from 2013 up until 2015 when Apple discontinued the A1502 series. So A1502, you have the 2013 and 2014, and the last one being 2015. You have another one that looks exactly like this one, which is A1425. That is only a 2012, early 2013, and that was the first Apple, the Retina 13 inches that Apple made. Okay, so this is coming in for no power. The trackpad is hard, which would mean that it's a 2015. If it was, if we could get a click on the trackpad, that would mean that the device it's actually 2013 or 2014. Okay, so this is coming from a repair company. So they have already done their work. So no back screws present at all. Okay, so yeah, it's indeed. Uh, So it's indeed a 2015 because as you can see, the trackpad cable goes over the battery. So if it was a 2013, the trackpad cable will be under the battery and not over the battery. Okay, so we see most of the screws are missing. Like I said, it's a repair company, so they have done their own assessment and attempts to repair. So most of the screws are actually out, so we are just going to first and first try to power the device, and this also looks like a new battery. Let's try to power the device. The device actually powers on because we have feedback from the trackpad. Okay, device powers on. So why did they say it's a no power? Okay, we're gonna phone the guys and find out why they say it's a no power, because the device clearly powers on. Let me phone them. Okay, so we got back to the client, and so the description that we had was not completely accurate. So we go back to the client, and then they said the issue it's that the device shuts off after a minute or so of boot. So what we are going to do is we are going to put into our test drive. The concept of booking into a test drive is something that remained true up until 2017 without having to make any security changes. But from 2018 and above, you cannot just put into a test drive without you having to have the client's login password, because that is going to be required for you to make the security changes. So 2017 and below, you can put into a test drive to do whatever test that you want to do. 2018 and above, you require the client's permission in order to do so. So it kind of defeats the purpose, because you don't want to ask a client for their password in order for you to do certain tests. But because of how sensitive that is, but then again, you're not able to, if it was 2017 and below, you can put through a test drive. Okay, so I'm not sure if the device is off. Okay, actually, yes, I think that's, wait. No, the device is not off. The device is on, but it's just frozen. Okay, so I'm not sure if you guys can see that. So the device is actually, so you see the keyboard backlight? The device is actually on, but it's frozen. And then right now, the caps lock does not respond. The trackpad is completely numb. There's nothing coming from the trackpad. Okay. Uh, hmm, interesting. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we're gonna shut the device down and try to put into it through safe mode. See if that if that will. Okay, device is off now. Let's try it, power it on again. For safe mode, we have to hold down the shift key while the device is powered on. Oh yeah, so first thing first, we need to obviously boot to our drive and then shift key. Okay, so shut it down and put through our drive, and then once we select our drive, then we can hold down the shift key so that the device will boot to safe mode. Okay, so I'm just gonna navigate to our drive. Once I select the drive, and then I hold the shift key. So I want to see if the device will, so because with safe mode, the device is limited in what it can do. So let's see if the device works on safe mode. And then another thing that we can preliminarily conclude on, even though that might not be completely true, it's the device seems to only freeze when it completes its boot process, when it gets to desktop, which is where you impute your password. So okay, so even with the shift key, uh, wait, that's it. Same thing. Uh, yeah, device is okay. It's still on because I can see the LED on the external drive. So the device is still on. Let me switch off the device. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put into recovery. See if we'll have a different behavior. Okay, let's just hold the Alt key to make it easier. So this is not going to be an issue with this is not going to be an issue with your. So I'm gonna choose install macOS Monterey. So that will take me to disk utility. So this is not going to be an issue with the drive because we are booting from an external drive. So this is not going to be an issue with the drive, because if it was an issue with the drive, using an external drive will overrule or bypass the internal drive, which we should have a different behavior. But in this case, we are putting from an external drive and we are still having the same issue. Okay, so let's go to disk utility and see if we have any difference there, see if the device will behave any differently. Okay, I think it did the same thing. Yeah, so the device behaves exactly the same. We go into recovery, and even that, actually now the device is off completely. Yeah, okay, so I think we can now take the board out to see exactly what is happening. An issue like this one can be because this is completely on the board. This is You are going to do a wide area of troubleshooting. So the first thing we are going to do is to take the board out to assess it to see if anything stands out. uh, there is not going to be, so it's going to be much easier if something stands out, and then we start our troubleshooting from there. Other than that, there is no particular region on the board that you want to start your troubleshooting from, even though the common thing that you want to do is to reinstall the firmware. But um, that's not a guarantee that that's going to solve the problem. So this is a very different issue. Unlike like no power, no backlight, keyboard not working, trackpad not working, board level or sound, all of that, it's different. Okay, so as you know, the device has been attempted before. So let's just look around the device. And then another thing we want to quickly do is we are going to put in another board in the shell just to be sure, just to rule out a shell issue. Let's put another board in the shell, see how it behaves. So let's put another board just to make sure we don't have a problem that is related or is we could connect very minimal cables, but we're not going to do so in case one of the cables that we fail to connect, it's our problem. So we want to make sure that we can replicate the state of the previous board as close as possible. So let's have all the cables connected. And, I'm not even sure if this board is a working board, but uh, I hope it is. Otherwise, I can just grab another one. Okay, the board. I get a trackpad feedback. Seems like the board is in SO state. We don't need the board post, so let's hold down the Alt key. Okay, that's good. Let's do the same thing. Try to put into our test drive. So if we get the same reaction from this board, then that will mean that our problem is not from the board. Because the fact that the board behaves exactly the same way as the other one would mean that the problem is not from the board. There are 1 out of 100 times where you have an issue like this one, and the device, and the problem is not only from, let's assume that it works fine, but then again, when you put the board in the shell, it still behaves the same way, which would mean that yes, you have a problem with the shell, and then you also have a problem with the board, but that is like 1 out of 100. So the chances of that is very slim. So oftentimes, if it fails here, it would just mean that the problem it's from the shell and has nothing to do with the main board. So there are some issues like that you have to troubleshoot in this manner, where you want to be sure that your issue is not board related. So one of the ways you rule that out is put it, if you have another board, you put in another board, or you can put the board that is out from here and put that in another shell to see if you will get a different behavior. So far, I think we're getting a different behavior because with the board inside, we didn't even get access to. Uh, okay, so that it's yeah, so that board is not. I'm not even sure why. We did select. We did select our test drive. I believe so. Okay, drive one. So with the loading bar, it should load directly to desktop. If it loads and then another bar starts, then it's not gonna, that would mean it's not going to Dexter, but it's gonna go to recovery. So the single loading bar should take you to Dexter, but if it cuts out, and then you have another bar starting, then that is just to tell you that it's not going to Dexter. Okay, so this is I would clearly not have issues with the shell, because if we had issue with the shell, we just put it into a test drive, which we failed to do on other with the other board. So yeah, so with the other board in, we couldn't do this. So yeah, it's definitely not an issue uh, with the shell. Okay, let's shut that down. So the next thing we are going to do is we are going to have a look at the board itself. Let's see what is it that we are dealing with. Let's put the board on the side. I will confirm that this is not an issue with the shell board, the main board. Okay, so check out the board, see what has been done here, see if anything stands out. So I see there's been a minor reflow to the SMC. I'm not sure why they did that. Okay, let's see. There was also this guy here seemed to have also been replaced, and I'm not sure why they did that. So what? Okay. This is an 820-4924. It's a 2015 board. 4924. So let's see. What does E7200 do? E7200 is gonna be a CPU. Okay, okay. So that was replaced, and I have no idea why they had to do that. So what we're going to do is we are going to reflow the SMC, and then also replace E7200. Okay, let's quickly open up the schematic while our machine is coming up. Just put it on now. 820-04924. I think yeah, yesterday we tried to get a schematic and we couldn't find one for it, even though I can confirm that I did have schematics, and but for some reason I don't find my schematics. So 34. So let's do 80 dash 3476. So that will be 3476. That will be the 2013-2014. So we can use that. So we are going to use 7200, I suppose. Use 7200. Okay, so that's E7200. So that is a CPU, a voltage regulator, 12.6 VCC regulator IC. Okay, so what we want to do before we actually, let's see. if we have a problem around U7200, that yeah, that can cause our device to misbehave the way it is doing now. And also, if SMC it's not doing its job, that can also be an issue. So what we're going to do is we are going to replace U7200 and then reflow our SMC. We are also going to remove the edge bonding of the SMC. So I'm talking about the edge bonding here. So let's do so. Okay, let me grab a donor board for U7200. Okay, we have a donor. So right now, we cannot confirm if that's our problem. We are just continuing. That's one of the challenge that you get when you are. By the way, for U7200, you can use 2013, 2014 board. So it doesn't have to be 2015. So one of the challenges you run into when it comes to continuing on a board work, it's sometimes you lose your hints because it's already been worked on. So I don't have a background of this board. I'm not sure if it was liquid damage or whatever, and I'm not sure why U7200 was replaced. So I'm just gonna, yeah, can only continue on what I see that they have previously done. So okay, let's remove U7200. Okay, that's in place. Okay, let's Let's test it now, see if we have anything different. Okay, we just this is we're not assembling the machine. We just want to put it together for test. So this is not the final. Okay, here I hold OK. Let's connect our test drive. Is U7200 properly installed? Uh, okay, doesn't seem to be starting. Though we have the device is in SO state because we have trackpad feedback. Let's shut it down and try again. Power it back on again. Okay, so I might have to check out my E7200 again, see if it's properly installed. I also was supposed to measure to see what the output of E7200 is, but I didn't do that. I just assumed. So yeah, the device is not starting. So I'm gonna check out my uh, let's check out the chip that we installed. So let's check out the 1700 first, just to be sure that. Okay, let's try to realign it. Okay, now that's done. Let's do a slight reflow again to the SMC. This time we're going to give the board a bit of time to cool off. Okay. So before we put the board in the shell, we are going to first of all uh, check the voltages on the board. The board is still very much, the board is still very hot. Give it a bit of time. So U7200, let's see, CPU, VRF, CCM, PWM1 and 2, CPU ready. Okay. Feedback, return, SDA, VRs. Okay. So let's see what we have on the board before putting in the shell. We are going to check for stable 5 volt on this coil here. Okay, so the fan is on, which is devices in ISO state. Let's give it a bit of time. Okay. Although you do not really rely on the 2015 fans because fans are not always on, so fans will only come on upon request. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to connect the screen and connect power to the board, see if we get anything on the screen. So I'm going to check for 5 volt on my screen inductor. With 5 volt, that would indicate that we might be having a screen communication. Okay, that's 5 volt. That's good. Let's see, do we have something on the screen? Okay, yes, we do have something on the screen. Okay, now let's try it out. Oh, so animation here. Okay, so we don't necessarily have to connect all the cables. I mean, we're still testing. Okay. While the is on, hold down the Alt key. Okay, now it starts. Let's try to put through our test drive again. See if we have any difference this time. Okay, so this was not the case before. Before now, I mean, as you guys saw the first time when you start the device with even with a text drive, it doesn't go through. It puts halfway and then it just freezes. Now the the funny thing here is that there's no way we can categorically say that the problem was either the SMC or U7200. So because it could have the E7200 that we found there was not looking okay. Two things. It could be that the E7200 itself was not properly soldered, or the E7200 was it could just be just one pin, not there's just one pin on the chip. It's not establishing proper communication on the board. That can cause the board to behave the way it was behaving. And it could also be that it's an issue with dirt underneath your SMC, or sometimes if you clean your SMC and then say, for example, you use say whatever form of chemicals you use to clean your board, and then you have a quantity of that under your SMC, it can cause your SMC to also misbehave. So this particular repair, we cannot say exactly that, okay, the problem was E7200, or to say the problem was SMC. But what is most important is we know there are two regions that we had to work on, the SMC and replacing of E7200. So the reason why that is important is in case, because the repairs that we do are warranted. I mean, they go out for 12 months of warranty. So should the board come back in within this period, or even after a year, at least we have an idea what we did, and that will help us just go back to what we did and see what again we can do to get the device to work. But I mean, as you guys can see, this was not possible before. So we are just going to restart the device and see if the device still works as expected. So let's hold down the Alt key and try again. So yeah, so okay, let's try again. While the device is booting, so with the MagSafe 1 and the MagSafe 2, including the MagSafe 3, when you're disconnecting, you either pull the charger up or down. So you do not disconnect by dragging it. So you do not the disconnecting process is not the same as you would do when you're disconnecting a USB Type C, for example. So with this one, you either go up or you go down. So that way you can easily disconnect it. But if it was a USB C charger, you disconnect it this way. So that's just and oh, by the way, so if it's a MagSafe 1, so the disconnection process will be like this. Because MagSafe 1 will basically, it becomes like this. Yeah, so you have to just do this to disconnect it. Okay, you guys see again that we were able to boot successfully to desktop again, and that's it. So like I said, we kind of confirmed that the issue was either, and that's also one of the difficult part of having to continue a job that has already been done, because you really would not have a clue as to exactly what was the state of the board and why the person did what they did. But sometimes you can get that if you speak to the person who worked on the board. They can tell you the state the board were and what they did, and why they did what they did. Okay, as you guys can see, the repair is complete. Thank you guys. I will see you guys in the next one.